Hey guys, Omni here. We are back for episode 5, the penultimate episode of Ms. Marvel. We're going to be checking this out here shortly. The last episode got us into Karachi and got us a little bit closer to the mystery behind the bangle, but behind her family's origins, and what exactly the clandestine seem to be up to. We got some information about the world that they come from, another organization that is working in the shadows in the MCU, the Red Daggers, and meeting a couple of their members. But of course, the clandestine managed to find out where she is, catch up with her, and an action set piece ensues, leaving, honestly, casualties on both sides during this whole thing, as the Red Daggers help protect Kamala and try to get her out of there, while the clandestines are just in hot pursuit. But by the end of it, Najma is able to catch up with her, and before she can stab or land a blow on Kamala, she manages to actually guard and block with the bangle, coming into contact with Najma's weaponry, activates it, and sends her into a vision, into time. Not exactly sure, but the episode ends with Kamala being at the train station back in the time of the partition. So I'm guessing this episode we will likely get a lot of our answers as far as what actually happened on that day with their great-grandmother and how, you know, they managed to lead her grandmother back to her family to get them onto the train. So I figure this will be the episode where we probably get quite a few answers and get to see that for ourselves. And guys, with that said, we're going to go ahead and jump into this. So if you're part of the 67% of people that are watching the channel, you're not yet subscribed, maybe you're just tuning in for the first time here today, I hope if you enjoyed this reaction, maybe you'll stick around, hit that subscribe button, leave a like. I'd really appreciate it. If you want to see the full-length reaction to this and watch-along format, you can check that out over on Patreon, or if you become a member of the channel, it gets you access as well. It also gets you the same thing for all the other shows we cover, as well as a bunch of full-length movie reactions where you guys get to help vote on what we add to that list every month. We've got monthly Q&As, behind-the-scenes footage, trying to make it worth your while since you guys are going out of your way to support the channel. But of course, I know never can do that, and a simple way you can help us out is just by liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing these videos, because it really does go a long way with helping the channel grow and evolve and get out there in that YouTube algorithm. With that all said and out of the way, guys, let's go ahead and hop into episode 5, Time and Again. Here we go.
To understand how all this began, we must go back to a pivotal moment in the Indian struggle for independence, back in 19...
Stop or I'll shoot!
She can definitely throw a dagger better than Kamala. You know, they did a really good job with casting, because she looks like she would be related to, especially Kamala's mom. She looks has very similar facial features. Like, I don't know, I just think the casting they did with the family was really well done. So,
touch me and I'll break your leg.
Can I help you with anything?
No.
There's food and a place to rest if you need to use my cottage.
oh, wait. Is that the great-grandpa? Yeah, I remember them saying something about he had like a bad leg and it needed a cane to get around.
Now I know you're just putting on a show. No human alive can resist the smell of a fresh fried paratha. Do you have a name, or shall I just call you Hungry?
Do you know, when I saw you out there, it reminded me of my favorite poem. What you seek is seeking you.
Aisha.
What you seek is seeking you.
My name is Aisha.
It's the inscription on the bangle.
ना कोई मुझसे फूल खरीदने को तैयार है और ना ही कोई मेरी बीवी को दूध बेचने को तैयार है क्योंकि मैं मुसलमान हूँ ये वक्त भी निकल जाएगा
Don't you want to go home?
Of course I do. But I hid the bangle for safekeep. Retrieving it will take some time.
You have until sundown tomorrow, and then we will all go home together.
Son, that's not safe. You have to take her with you.
What?
You have to trust me with this husband.
Aisha.
For her sake.
Aisha.
You promised.
Turned your back on us, your family, your people. Where is the bangle, Aisha?
That's Mom.
I'll find it if it's the last thing I do.
Oh no.
What you seek is seeking you.
Is it going to be Kamala that helps her get to the train? Because Aisha doesn't have the bangle.
Sana on the train and protect that bangle.
Who's to save Nani? Like the story?
Wow. That's awful, man. I mean, I guess that's just a little bit of a hint of how cold Najma is, considering she was just ready to just disown her son just for doubting their plan in the previous episode.
Do you want to play a game? I'm gonna need you to jump.
That's what I thought it was gonna be. But I didn't think it was gonna be Kamala doing it. Oh, wow. Trail of Stars. So she is back in time. Or, I mean, it could be like a Bran Stark situation where she's projected into the past but able to influence it. Man, history sucks, man. I just feel like more and more we're not learning from it either. And we're back. Oh, hi.
Get up, pick it up, Kamala, pick up the phone. Magnum got lost once. I had him microchipped. Trust me, if it was legal, I would.
She has a phone, right?
Yes, of course, beta, she has a phone.
Well, if Kamala's phone is on your family plan, you can just log into your account and use the Find My Phone feature to see where she is.
If you have it enabled.
Parents?
Kind of.
Then why am I only just hearing about
Oh my lord, that's so funny.
We can go home.
Oh, whoa. Turn her to, like, stone and then bones.
It's not gonna work. It's just gonna destroy everything. Please help me close it.
I can make it.
You have Kamran.
I don't. I left him behind.
So go back and get him. All Aisha ever wanted was to be with her family, and you took that from her. Please don't take that from Kamran too.
You're right. There is only one way. I can close it. Kamran.
What the fuck is going on? Oh, what the hell? Whoa, what the hell? What just happened?
Hi.
Was that like her spirit or essence and she went into Kamran? Like her Noor?
what is happening? Are you... Who is that?
Salam alaikum, auntie. Nani?
Walaikum salam, beta.
So you are that light girl?
Yeah. This is for you.
Hamni? Abu?
This photograph. And those lights? How did that happen?
Bangle.
Shall we go home now?
Yeah.
Actually, I have one more thing I need to do, but I'll be right back really quick. Just one.
Okay.
I have to go tell the others what happened.
There are others. Okay.
You know, if you ever need anything, I'm just take all away. Although the US government may or may not have several warrants out for my arrest.
I don't know how much more trouble I can get into after all this.
Just in case. For you.
The vest, that, her scarf, her outfit, inspiration is coming together on this trip, man.
What is this?
Speak of the devil. Cha-cha-chow.
It broke.
Ah, all right. What's left if we're just going for the final episode? I mean, like the whole veil thing just kind of up and disappeared. That can't be it. I mean, there is still the DODC problem, but I don't think that's going to be the finale.
Perhaps this was the journey I was intended to take. One that would bring me back to you.
Are we already back home? Or are we just cutting back home?
Brian?
Is that yeah, I was like, was that Kamran hiding behind the dumpster?
What are you doing here? I don't know where else to go. Argon. It's one of my favorite elements. Is there a car guy as well?
Oh.
Yeah, it's
something like that, sure.
Can we just restart? Because this is really weird. It's nice to meet you. I'm Kamran. Oh my god, I genuinely thought your name was Brian this whole time.
Oh, no, I had noticed the first 4 times.
No, I need to stay here so my mom knows where to find me.
Dude, she left you behind to fend for yourself. What makes you think she's coming back?
She wouldn't just leave me behind like some kind of orphan.
Well, she did something. She turned stone.
I'm not gonna leave you to deal with damage control yourself, so you're good. We'll just stay here, we'll figure it out. Well, I don't know if you're hungry, but my Nona's out of town. She left some...
Uh-oh.
I've been followed. We have to go.
You have powers too?
Oh, shit. Maybe damage control is just the finale. Let's see. This is a lot of credits. Unless I don't remember them always being this long, but I mean, there's no post-credits thing here that I see. But I'm just gonna let this play out and I'll just talk. This episode, like diving into the backstory behind the bangle, Aisha and everything at Karachi with the partition and stuff was, I don't know, man. It was short and sweet, and to the point. And I really, it still hit all the emotional beats that I really liked about it. I don't know. The whole Najma thing, it was resolved extremely quickly here with this. And the veil is, unless they're setting that up and leaving that open for something to explore later, or if they wanted to have that in the background as what the clandestine were always striving for, but the whole point being, you know, to focus on what you have and what you've built here on this world, which is something Najma couldn't exactly do. And she knew that. So in her own sacrifice, she like went into the veil, the rift, to close it. I don't know, how walking into it closed it, or if it transported them from their earthly bodies into maybe a more jinn-like state on the other side. I don't know how that works, if they actually have the same bodies or if when they came to the earth. Okay, so there was nothing in the credits. All right. That said, like, I don't understand the resolution exactly, other than because it just happened so abruptly. And then whatever Najma did in that moment when she entered the veil and turned to ash and bone, her essence, her light went to Kamran and activated his powers without that of the bangle. Or maybe because she said like the connection between their world like was weakened for them, but people like Kamran and Kamala who were born here are able to tap into it more easily despite the barriers between. And maybe she used herself as a conduit for a direct connection to the Noor to then somehow metaphysically pass that on to Kamran without him needing an anchor like the bangle. I'm a little confused on all of that. But I think, again, what the show is executing on really well is just the family story, the family history, us learning the truth about these core memory moments that their family built the foundation on, the thing that really kind of spurred everything forward. And the only thing that I wish we would have explored a little bit more was Aisha. Why did she betray the clandestines? Was it purely for the family she made here? Because she seemed to be just on her own to begin with, and then because of this, she wanted to hold them all back. Because I don't know, I feel like we needed a little more information there to kind of get why she wouldn't at least help them go back, unless she already knew the consequences of them going back. We also still don't know why they were banished, why they were exiled from the Noor dimension. Like, what did they do? Why did they get cast out? How did they end up here? Why aren't they allowed back? There's a lot of questions we still don't necessarily have, and seemingly everybody that can give us any of these answers is now dead. So I don't know what's going to happen there, unless maybe in the next episode something happens and Kamala is able to go to the other side, and maybe somebody there has some of those answers. Who knows? Maybe Aisha, in her redemption or whatever, her sacrifice in the past, maybe through these events that unfold, maybe she was accepted back into the Noor dimension where her powers would be restored, and maybe she recovered from that. Random spitballing a theory here, because I don't know who else could bring a close to any of this information other than Aisha, or maybe just some unknown that will be introduced if Kamala actually goes back into that world through the veil to kind of get those answers. Unless those answers just are not relevant to where they want to go with the story right now. Which, honestly, like I mentioned this in the breakdown for episode 4, where I was like, the show, the superheroing in the show is honestly, at this point, like, secondary to what I find actually intriguing and investing, which is the family drama, the family dynamics, the generational trauma that has been carried on through these events, through this neglect throughout the family because of these differing points of view, this lack of information and closure that they've had on certain events in their past, and the tragedy that they kind of spurned their family forward, and how that's kind of carrying on, and they're picking up the pieces and trying to rebuild that foundation, or at least repair and solidify or reinforce that foundation, because it always kind of was fractured and broken because of the events that led their family into Karachi, which led their family into the United States, and which has led us to where Kamala is now, trying to unravel this story, this puzzle, and this legacy that she doesn't understand and nobody really wants to talk about because of that pain that kind of comes with it, and that misunderstanding that happened between her mother and her grandmother. They just couldn't see eye to eye on certain situations, while her grandmother was always looking into the past, and because of that wasn't able to pay attention in the way that maybe she wishes she would have with her mother, which caused her to resent that fact, and the way the community treated her grandmother imprinted onto her, and she didn't want to have that for her or her family, which led her to the States, which led her to how she treats Kamala. Everything had a domino effect, and right now they're working through all of that in a very beautiful way. And I really like the dynamics. I really like the cast that they have pulling together, because they do a really good job when it comes to these family moments. And it, honestly, at the end of the day, it outshadows for me any of the fantastical elements. Like, I'm curious about the Veil. I want to know more about it. I want to understand the Bangle. I want to understand what the Noor dimension is about. What, more so than the explanation we got in the previous episode. Because it seemed like also another setup of stakes, where we presented this apocalyptic event that could happen if that veil gets breached or torn down, and it was resolved in like 5 seconds. So, like, unless that rift is still there, or something happens in the next episode, maybe with Kamala facing off against the DODC, and maybe something happens and she breaches that rift open again, maybe by accident, the stakes are pretty low. I gotta say. For the show, which I'm fine with overall, but it just seems like there was a lot of build for a little bit of a fizzle out on that storyline. But we got the information that was pertinent to the characters, which is why I'm enjoying the show so much. I think that whole aspect is being done really well. I want the clandestines' motivations to be a little more clear and understand why they're so desperate to get home. They're willing to sacrifice this whole world. Obviously, they don't care about the people here. They see them as lesser than them in a way, so that's part of it. But, you know, we still don't really know why they were put here in the first place. Clearly, they give no shit about life in general, even some of their own, and their desperation to return with her neglect of Cameron, the one dude's insatiable desire for violence. There's a lot of things that are not being explored that I have a lot of questions for. And I was thinking during this episode, and this is a kind of a situation where I've kind of thought about this with some of the other Marvel shows up until this point, maybe save for WandaVision. I don't know how you could have pulled it off in WandaVision in a way that would have made that show effective in the way that it was in the format it was presented in versus a movie. I feel like with Moon Knight, Falcon the Winter Soldier, even Hawkeye, and now this, I would think would, you know, the 6 episode structure, I maybe could have been smoothed out a little bit more if presented just as a film itself, which is also an argument that I've seen a lot for Kenobi, which I can also kind of agree with. Like, you could shave out some of the fat in that and make that into a movie, which it was originally intended to be. No, it's 2 separate genres and 2 separate properties, but effectively a lot of these Marvel shows, a lot of these Disney Plus shows in general, I feel like could have been structured a little as like a more smooth, maybe like 2-hour movie, 2.5-hour movie, where we could explore some of these things and kind of just kind of get into the run and gun of it all. Or the alternative, which is to spend more time on it and flesh a lot of these things out, because another thing about Moon Knight and some of the other shows is the ending always ends up seeming rushed, generally speaking. Even though I've enjoyed every show, it does kind of just speed run the wrap up in a lot of them. I have no idea what's going to happen in the episode 6, and that could completely shift. You know, Najma could magically come back. You know, they did turn to stone, which from what I've seen from the breakdowns and stuff, like, does kind of look like the whole Terrigenesis thing. The whole difference, though, is they turned to bones. Their flesh, their meat, their skin, all of that turned to stone and fell off of their bones. Doesn't seem like someone's alive from that, but maybe they will reconstitute, and maybe Najma will pop back up and try to come after them again, or maybe she will, because of this contact with the veil, be able to use her rebirth to break the veil open again, and use this connected life to return to Cameron, and it'll become this thing of him having to actually pick and choose, because he's still hanging on to this belief and this connection to his mother despite what he witnessed happen, and he's in kind of denial about it. Understandably so. That's his mom, and she just kind of told him to piss off in the end. So the whole interaction between him and Bruno was also just delightful. But this episode did get me emotional for sure, seeing the history and the past that is coming through. Love the episode. I want more about the backstory than the motivations of the clandestine, these Jinn, and the Noor dimension, because with one episode to go, and we kind of say this a lot, it seems like normally there's like, how are they going to wrap all this stuff up? But they seem to have just dumped a lot of it out in this one, and leaving us purely with the DODC on their tail and leaving that as the primary resolution, which, I'll be honest, is a little low stakes and a little lackluster. I'm not gonna lie. A little, if we really are hopscotching away from the whole threat of the veil being torn down and the Noor dimension bleeding into our world, or they'll save that in here and we'll get a stinger for season 2. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I'm just giving you guys my gut feeling, my gut thoughts right now, and that could completely turn around the next episode depending on what happens. But guys, what did you think of this episode? What are your thoughts, your theories? Sound off the comments. Let me know your thoughts down below. We'll carry on the conversation after the video. Feel free to join us in our Discord. We could talk about it there as well. Links to that and all my socials are down below. Remember, if you want to see the full-length reaction to this episode or any of the previous ones, you can check those out over on Patreon, or if you become a member of the channel, gets you access as well. Speaking of, before we go, I want to shout out our channel legends: Manny Sherritt, Ryan Karen, Jason Coleman, Philly Vane, Yori Corey Scott, Margaret Grace, Mary Bradley, Melito, Robert Anguiano, Cal Kestis Nation, and Raven McCann. Thank you guys so much for for your continued support. But that's it for this episode, guys, and I'll see you all next week for the finale. Take care, everybody.